Welcome to episode 16. This is Alice Chen's podcast, and we are talking about 2021. Alice, how are you?
I'm good.
Good, awesome. After the last
today?
one, after the last episode, what do you have for us in 2021?
Oh, as I said off camera, this one I think is even juicier, you know?
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yep. So we'll just kind of get started.
Let's go.
So 2021, if you remember, it was definitely fully a seller's market at the time. Most of our listings received multiple offers. Things were selling above list price. Do you remember, like, during that time? Okay.
Yeah, it was like if you're in the Chicagoland area, you know Portillo's, and I always said that open houses became like Portillo lines.
Pretty much.
Shoes were all over the place.
All over, car line, out the door.
Yeah.
Yep. Rates were still low.
Yep.
Right? They were still at about 3, maybe a little lower.
Yeah.
Yep. And then new agents continued to join the market, right? Or in the industry, I should say, left and right, because they just thought it was glamorous and easy and right?
Yeah. I felt like that everybody said that real estate agents made a ton of money.
Yes. I mean, they probably did. Yeah.
Yeah.
If they just entered in and then they took a bunch of listings because listings sold themselves.
Yeah, right.
I mean, you didn't really have to do anything.
Right.
You know? So that year, at the very beginning of the year, I decided, and so I had already planned it at the end of the prior year, even with everything that I had going on the previous year, okay? Mm-hmm. I thought, you know what, let's just add something more to the bucket, right, for the next year. Why not?
Sure, why not?
So I had been planning, along with Jessica, my trusty sidekick, a kind of a mini project, and we called it Naperville Homes and Happenings, NH&H, okay? And so we had planned that, and then we kind of launched it at the beginning of 2021. And what it was originally was I was on a different, I don't know if you would even call it a TV show, okay? But I was on a different TV show that I paid money into, okay? They didn't pay me. I paid money into it, okay? To focus on local businesses and real estate, of course, right? And during COVID, all their operations kind of stopped. And so then it kind of gave me the idea of, why am I leaning on them to do it? Like, I know the businesses, I know the real estate, this is my hometown.
Right.
I should just create something of my own.
Right.
Right? Okay. So then NH&H was born. So then we started lining up. The hard part is lining up the businesses, the small businesses, not big boxes, okay? And then real estate that, like, there's some connection between the business that's featured and then the house. And it doesn't even have to be a house that's for sale. Okay, it was what we decided. And it doesn't have to be a tour of the whole house. It could be of a particular unique feature of the house, or the history, or something just different, right?
Yeah.
And so I think we took a sabbatical about a year ago, I want to say. But I think we did, for the podcast, actually.
Yeah.
But I think we kind of did up to maybe 30 episodes, 33. It was a lot. It was a lot. Yeah. And most were active listings. Some weren't, you know, some were past client homes, which was very nice to see them again.
Yeah.
And then always just a local business. And during the time, especially since it was right after COVID, right? Small businesses were really hurting, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to do something where then it would be a free video for them, and they could share it with all their, you know, potential customers. And then I would share it with my network, and hopefully it would just keep going, right?
Yeah.
So that was good. 2 of my past admins actually came to me to buy, and one wanted to sell a house.
Cool.
So that was actually really, that was a great feeling, is when they're no longer part of the team. And they still trust in me to do, you know, to help support them through their real estate transaction. That's super meaningful. And then in the spring is when I started. So we were still renting in the building next door to our current building. And my friend and colleague, Gail Niermeyer, she said she had a listing right next door. Okay. It was a blue Grecian Revival building. And she said, Alice, you should buy that building, just kind of as a joke, right? And I said, no, I'm not going to buy that building. Why would I buy that building, right? It's like falling down, Gail, you know, and we could see it. The funny part is we could see it from my window because I was on the second floor.
Yeah.
You know, we could look down on it, right? And I was like, no, Gail, I'm not buying that house. And she said, okay, well, just think about it. Would you just think about it? I said, fine, Gail. Okay, I'll think about it. Okay. So then she left. We were doing a deal together, a different deal. So then maybe a month passed, and, I see the building every day out my window, right?
Yeah.
Staring
at you.
I know. And a month passed, and I thought, okay, fine. I'll just go and take a look, see how bad it really is, right? So I call her. I'll never forget it. I said, Gail, can I go over there and just take... She's like, yes, do it now. Go now. So I go inside.
I love it.
And it's really bad, Bill. Like, the ceilings are like not even 8 foot tall, maybe 7 foot. It smells really musty in there. Like, I mean, it's all got to go, okay?
Yeah.
And the bathrooms are not even operational. And the building, you can tell, is clearly from 1895.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's limestone foundation, the whole bit, okay? And I'm like, Gail, I can't. I don't know. What would I do with this,
Right.
And she's like, well, you could remodel it and, house your team in there. And I'm like, I don't think this is going to work. Okay. So then I just thought about it some more, and nobody was buying it. It was just sitting there, right? In this market especially. And I thought, oh, that's weird, right?
Right.
And the location is amazing, right? It's basically in downtown Naperville. So I thought, you know what? Let me just do some more research. So through my research, I found out that the building is actually zoned transitional use.
Transitional use.
Mm-hmm. It's not residential, and it's not commercial.
Okay.
So I don't know if you know this, Bill, but in Naperville, in downtown specifically, you cannot have a service business, okay, and be on the first floor.
I just found that out.
Yes. Unless the building is transitional use.
Interesting.
Yes.
That's
it's a
good
loophole.
to know. Wow, a loophole.
Very small hole. Yeah. So I realized that, and I went, oh, wow. Like, how many buildings? So it kind of set me down like a rabbit hole, right?
Yeah,
and I was like, well, how many buildings are zone transitional use in downtown? Less than 10.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
And so then I said, and it's always been a dream. Most people don't know this, but ever since I started, and, there were agents that I looked up to who were super successful at the time when I started, I've always dreamed, one of my biggest dreams was to own a building in downtown Naperville and run my business out of that building.
That's my dream too.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know about Naperville because it's pretty darn expensive, but you
Very expensive.
found a unicorn.
I found a unicorn. Yeah. So then I was like, well, okay, let's just look into this. Maybe there's something here. Okay. So I started doing my research, crunching numbers. And then I was like, well, how am I going to get this money? Right. So then I approached my husband, and he still makes fun of me to this day because I'm like, honey, let's sell the house. Like our own house. Okay. And he's
we'll live in the upstairs.
Yeah. And he's like, where will we live? What do you mean sell the house? Okay. And I'm like, well, I need the money. I need the equity so like I can buy this building. Right. And he's like, no, we're not selling the house. Okay.
Yeah.
And he goes, however, we do have this other property over here, that's been a rental. And he's like, I'm really getting sick and tired of managing the rental.
Love it.
Can we sell that?
Yeah.
Okay. And I said, yes, but I don't know if it's considered like a like-kind exchange, like a 1031,
yeah,
right?
Yep. That's what I was going to think. Ask next.
And he was just like, well, okay, can you find out? Because we're not selling our house. Okay, so we're going to sell this one.
Right.
I said, fine. So then I did some research. I did a lot of studying up, and it's considered like-kind as long as it's a rental property to rental property. Okay, so now you're wondering, well, what do you mean, Alice? Like,
so you can rent from your company back to yourself.
Bingo.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha.
So then it was the first time I did a 1031, so I had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
But I get a 1031 company. There's companies out there that's all they do. They educated me, kind of guided me through the whole process. And then, it was, we closed on the property in, I think, May of that year.
Wow.
And we did the inspection, we did all that stuff. And there was a lot of stuff that went into it because at first, before the whole 1031 idea, right? And at the end of the day, I just got a commercial loan, very, run-of-the-mill vanilla commercial loan. But originally, I wanted to get an SBA loan. And then I also wanted originally to try to preserve the building, and it wasn't on it's not in the historic district, but the building is somehow on the National Historic Registry. Somehow it got on there.
I was going to ask because I do know that Naperville has that. So
Yes.
was there like a TIF or anything that came along with that?
No,
Or?
so not a TIF. But so like I didn't realize that it's two different things. So like the historic district is like one little section,
Right.
And then some buildings are not in the historic district, but they're on like the national like list. Okay. So this building was on the national list. And so then because it was on that list, I could have been eligible for some like federal like grant money or gifts.
Yeah.
But only if I preserved the building. You see, okay, there was a lot of red tape, which is expected. But then when I did the inspection, there was a lot of things that were found. Like the siding was crumbling. It wasn't, I couldn't salvage it. I mean, I really just couldn't, you know? And not to mention like construction, if you know anything about construction, the siding is not supposed to be adhered to the 2x4s. Like there's supposed to be like other layers in between,
right.
Yeah.
They were stuck to the 2x4s. Okay.
So I ultimately had to take it down, sadly. And then that's why then I kind of pivoted and I didn't do an SBA loan. I didn't do any of that. You know, I just did a normal business loan.
Yeah.
Construction, you know. And so then we took it down, but then we did keep part of the foundation for tax purposes, right? So that it's considered more of a master renovation than an actual like total rebuild.
Yeah.
Which helped. But then for several years later, until this last year, we had to deal with a leaky limestone portion of the basement.
Yeah.
But we resolved that this year. So we'll get to that later. And then that was it. So we closed, and then construction took until the following year. I would say it was almost a full year of construction. Wow. Yeah.
So were you there every day?
I tried not to be because I was next door. So, I mean, I could see through the window.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
The builder was probably like, oh, my gosh. Like,
she's watching me every day.
I know.
Yeah.
Like, I would call him and be like, hey, it looks like, and he's like, Alice, like, stop micromanaging me, you know, probably.
I think we did this. Wait, where are you at? You're looking.
Next door, yeah.
Next door, I see everything. Don't worry.
Yeah, don't worry about it, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was...
It's a beautiful place.
Thank you.
It's a beautiful place.
Thank you. I learned a lot.
Yeah.
It was definitely a process. And then because it's transitional and because of the location, I also learned that it obviously has to be accessible to people in wheelchairs, handicap accessible. So not only the ramp, you know, so we have a ramp in the back,
Okay.
but the bathroom downstairs has to be, I mean, there's certain like regulations as to the height of the sink and like the turning radius and the doorways, the whole bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had to follow all of that. Yep. Yeah.
Wow.
And then I had to get, I think it was at least one exception. So basically what the city said that is I had to have originally, somehow I had to have 5 parking spaces. And I'm like, where would you like me to fit them in? There is no space, right? So I did get an exception. I think the exception is for 3.
3.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then 1 is a designated handicap spot, and then 2, regular spots. Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering. So, I mean,
it's very strange.
You can get 3 cars in there into your drive?
We can. Yeah. So there's a side, like, if you get, it's a very narrow driveway, but in the back you can fit 2 side by side, and then the third one you can technically fit on the sidebar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it's very rare when we jam 3 cars in there, you know, or 2 even, you know.
Right.
But it works. Yeah.
Yeah.
It works for my team.
What a great location too.
It's great. Yeah. I don't regret it. It's been a blessing for sure.
What type, like owning that space, what types of things do you do with the community? Is there like parades? Stuff?
Tons of stuff. Yeah, I'm glad you asked. So the building was originally a part of what's called an SSA, right?
Okay.
It's a downtown special service assessment. And then when you pay into that, then you're eligible to participate in a lot of the things that you just said. So wine walks we do, chocolate walks. We are on the actual direct parade route for the Labor Day parade.
Yep.
Not for the St. Patrick's Day parade. I'm trying to think what else. a lot of events.
There's a big Christmas parade too, right?
There's a holiday
parade,
but I don't know if we're on like right on that route.
Yeah.
You can't beat it. Like when they had the last fling, we just park there and we don't ever have to worry about parking.
Yeah, fireworks too.
Exactly. So. Like pretty much everything. Yeah. But with all of that comes responsibilities, you know?
Sure,
so like we have to shovel our own snow. Mow the grass, like take care of the grounds.
Have you ever mowed the grass?
Not me, my husband, my dear husband.
Really?
Yeah.
Your husband is a saint.
He is. He
love
is a saint. He really is. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. That's
he does
awesome.
a lot. Yeah.
That's good.
And that's pretty much it. Yeah. And then it also doesn't hurt that my neighbor, who used to be my landlord, he's a very, very nice fellow. And he'll always like come and knock on my door and he'll be like, well, I have extra fertilizer. Would you like some? And I'd be like, oh yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. So, cause we used to rent from him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
It's a great kind of line of little houses there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I always say this, but Naperville is kind of like a mini Chicago. So if you have real estate down there, it's always going to just appreciate, and it's a great. Your sign is right there too. So
it's right there. Yeah.
Anytime you drive down to Naperville, you'll see her sign, and it's a great brand. And
it is. Yeah.
So,
and there's a lot more potential, believe it or not, too, because in the back, not anytime soon, but if I wanted to in the future, I could build on top of the garage.
Really?
As long as it's within the confines of the regulations of elevation, height.
Yeah.
And so I could build like a little loft up there and then rent that out,
Yeah.
So I was thinking like for commuter, that would be perfect.
Right.
There's just all sorts of things. Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
That is so fun.
I told my kids they can never sell it. Like that's like when I die, like you can't ever sell that building. And right now, they're like, okay, sure. And I'm like, no, for real.
Seriously.
You can never sell it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can do whatever you want with it.
You have an attorney that you could always.
That's true. That's true.
Always say,
kids?
let's put this. Let's put this in
says.
the will.
Yeah, this is what this says. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So
wow. Yeah. When you built that place, it was just a beautiful like point in Naperville.
Thank you.
It's a staple.
Yeah.
You see it.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
So let's go through the stories of that year. So that year I still hadn't learned my lesson, Bill, on hiring and firing and
Oh, really?
Quite yet. Yeah. So we still wanted to hire an ISA, inside sales agent.
Sure.
So we hired one. And she was from the insurance world, okay? And I didn't realize that, this sounds so funny now, but I didn't realize, like, how much a person's character and what they're willing to do to, like, get a sale, right? It can differ greatly from person to person. And so I didn't realize it because I was out of the office a lot on appointments, so I wasn't there to hear, like, what she was saying to people, when she was making calls, right? And finally, Jessica or somebody from the office was like, Alice, you really need to know what she's saying on the phone to these people. Like, she's blatantly lying to people.
Mm-hmm. Blatantly lying.
So I'll give you a couple examples.
Yeah.
Like, she would call somebody, and then, like, I guess she just got tired of people hanging up on her. I don't know what the situation was, but she would say, hey, it's, so-and-so. Not her. She would say, hey, it's Jane. I need to talk to, whoever the owner is of the house, right? Something's happened to his brother. And that's how yes, like lie, like blatantly, not only blatantly lie, but like,
deep lie. Like this is like
deep lie. Yeah.
And there's the pattern we talked about, right? If she's got a pattern.
Yes.
It came with it.
And then like the desperation, kind of kicks in, because it's like if it's a commission job and then I don't know. So obviously we had to part ways. That is a giant no-go, right? Like in my book. I know.
So how'd that go?
It was fine.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm used to it. It was fine. I can take care of that. Don't worry. It's an easy one.
Yeah. I should have seen the writing on the wall because she was sending us out on appointments in the field that were nonsensical. Like we would go out and then like we wouldn't know these people obviously, and then like they would no show or it'd be the wrong address or like it was just a giant waste of time, you know?
Yeah.
And so I finally just was like, this is not a good fit,
Why would you say that something's wrong with your brother? Like,
right?
That just,
it's
how
terrible.
are you gaining trust? That's
You're
my
not.
question.
Yeah. Like, I don't.
So,
I mean, at the end, I was like, what are you doing? Like, what actually are you doing? You know?
people are strange.
Very strange. So bizarre. Yeah.
Golly. Okay.
Yep. And then another not so great, I wouldn't say it was a bad hire. It was just a really, really bad fit. It was an agent, actually, that we had for a very short period of time. And then she actually moved. But the last straw, I would say, is that after she had left behind a tenant client. And now we don't really work with renters. And this is one of the reasons why. So it was a tenant client. We had the listing, and then she had come across, through inbound leads and calls, she actually got the tenant. Okay. The tenant made an application, the landlord accepted, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So then she had moved out of state before, the final walkthrough, before the lease actually started.
Okay.
Okay. So then Christina from the team, she had to do the final walkthrough. With the tenant. Okay. So unbeknownst to me, both the owners and the tenant, they were both nuts. Okay. So I did not know that before the walkthrough. Okay. So I'm just prefacing it. So Christina, I was out of town. I think I was in Florida in Disney World on a family vacation. Christina did the final walkthrough at the townhouse. Okay. And it wasn't the first time the tenant had seen the house. Okay. So they walk through and all that. And I'm not even exaggerating. I'm not, I'm telling you the truth. He throws a tantrum. He brings his mother. He's a grown man, by the way. Brings his mother to this walkthrough, throws a tantrum. Okay. The blinds are broken. This is broken. This is ridiculous. This place is a pigsty. I mean, Christina's she's licensed, but she's not an agent. Do you know what I mean? She's a licensed transaction coordinator. Okay. Yeah. And so she's standing there and she's like, what do I do? This guy's flying off the handle, and basically, and he's swearing, cursing, this is BS, wow. Raging. Okay. And so I'm like, Christina, get out of there. This is not safe.
It doesn't sound safe at all.
Yeah, no, get out of there. Okay. So then he's threatening to not move in, not, play his part in the lease, right? That he signed, right?
Right.
Threatening all sorts of things, okay? And then the seller or the owner goes just totally off the ledge too, okay? And starts not even directly with the tenant, okay? Which they should do. It's you two now, right?
Yeah. This is your place, and then you're moving into this place between you two.
Goes off on us.
Why?
Yes, and starts threatening with lawsuits and that, it's your fault and it's your client that you brought in. Oh, it was a mess, okay? And then didn't want to pay us, refused to pay us. It was just terrible. And finally, I just was like, we're done. I'm done. This is not worth it. This is a rental, you know?
Yeah.
And I think we had another rental listing on top of it. And I just said, we're canceling that, and we're just, whatever. You do what you want. This guy is your problem now. Okay. Yeah. You've signed a lease. So if you have any issues, you need to contact your attorney. And I don't think they liked that, Yeah. You know how, when you're in an escalated situation, if the calmer you are, the more agitated than the person.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened. Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And then I think some people aren't told no very often, or they feel like they are intimidating enough that they're the aggressor and they're in control, right? Yeah. So then it was several years later, actually, that out of nowhere, they submitted a negative review.
Oh, God.
Several years later. And I'm like, what,
So they just can't let it go?
They just can't let it go. Yeah, they just can't let it go. So,
what is up with people delaying and then thinking, do they have a nightmare or something, years later?
Yeah, it triggers them?
What happened there?
Maybe they saw my name somewhere. I don't know. Who knows,
Oh.
And it's I don't, yeah.
Wow.
I know.
Okay.
I know. So there's just, some really, really not great people out there. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, retail working with people on the street level is always difficult.
It's really, really hard.
It's not like business to business. Business to business is non-emotional.
Correct.
There's some jerks in
like
that,
residential versus commercial real estate.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like it's just not the same.
Yep.
Okay, so you ready for some funny stories?
Some juicy stuff?
Juicy, funny
okay,
stories?
let's get to the juicies.
So this was the year that I was actually training for my Spartan.
Oh,
trifecta,
yes.
if you remember.
Yeah,
right?
I was literally talking about that yesterday. To
yeah,
a client.
So I was training very, very hard. I was probably working out 6 days a week, 2 of which with a personal trainer, specifically for Spartan races. So I was doing a lot of trail running, practicing on obstacles, not just, running on a treadmill, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay. So then a lot of that training involved elevation training. Okay. So like on hills, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't know if you've noticed, we don't have that many hills.
No.
So
there's really only one. It's by the Carillion, right?
There's 2. Yes. Well, in Naperville. Yes,
Yeah.
You're right. In
Yeah.
Naperville, there's only that one. I'm talking about like generally in the western suburbs.
Yes.
Yeah. Or the suburbs. Yeah. So I would train a lot in the 4 lakes on the ski hill, right?
Yeah.
It was in the summer in the ski hill. I would also train, I think it's in the southern suburbs, Tinley Park or...
Yeah. Is there stairs over there?
There's stairs,
Yes.
huge, I forget what it's called, but huge stairs and then like all these trails and things like that. Yeah. Okay, so those are the 2 parts. And then there's a third place, I think it's by like, it's in a forest preserve. Those are the only 3 hills.
Right.
Anyways, okay. So we had a listing, Tiffany, who's still on my team, and we had a listing in South Naperville. And the owners were trying to sell it, but they had a tenant inside. Do you notice the theme here with tenant? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, there is.
So
this is the year of the tenant, right?
This is the year of the tenants, yeah. So they had a tenant inside, and the tenant was not cooperating with showings, okay? It was not keeping the house, like, neat, tidy, show ready, all that stuff, okay? And then we, again, didn't learn our lesson, I suppose, but we were inserted in between the landlord and the tenant, obviously, because it's like, okay, we need to show the house to sell it, and the tenant is there, right? Okay. So then...
It's like deja vu.
It's
right?
deja vu. And so the owner was like, I don't know what's going on. Like, why isn't he allowing showings? And then, oh, by the way, I know this isn't your job, Alice, but they're not supposed to have dogs in the house or pets, right? And... but I know they've got to have a pet in there because, last time I was there was pet food and a pet bowl and this, that, and the other thing. Right. And I'm like, oh gosh, like, what do you want from me? Right. And he's like, well, the next time you go, you make sure that if there's a pet in there. Okay. Or something like that. And I'm like, how am I going to make sure if there's a dog in there? Right. Okay. So then he goes, this is the funniest part. The owner sends me a photo of the dog. Okay. And it's like, this is the dog. If you see this dog, right? And it's like a scrappy, like white hair, those, I don't know what
dog's
type
like, I'm just trying to live.
I'm just trying to be here. Yeah. So he's like, this is the dog. And I'm like, okay, guy, pipe down. Right. so then just randomly, I can't even make this stuff up. Okay. I'm with my trainer. It's just her and I. Okay. Nothing to do with work. Nothing at all. We're at the 4 Lakes ski hill.
Yeah.
And I have to paint a picture for you. So it's a hot day, and she's like timing me, right? Like on elevation runs, okay? And so she's timing me, and she's like, okay, get to the height of the elevation of this hill by this time, right? And I'm like, okay, Sarah's her name. Yeah. Okay, Sarah, okay. So I'm like, okay, she's like, go. And so I'm like running up the hill, and she's very fit, okay? Mm-hmm. So she's running along with me, and she's like encouraging me and all that. And I see this man with a dog.
Oh no.
And he's like trying to get the dog out of my way because I'm like bolting it right up there.
It's scrappy.
And he's the dog is like, I don't know, dogs love me, and the dog's like coming towards me, and I'm like, I need to make my time up there, right? And he's like, whatever the dog's name is, come over here, don't interfere, right? So I'm like looking and I'm I'm like, why does that dog look familiar? And my trainer's like, why? What are you doing? Like, why are you getting distracted? Right? She's really funny too. And I'm like, Sarah, that's the dog. That's the dog.
Scrappy.
And she's like, what dog? You know what I mean? So like we get up to the hill and I'm like, I'm like breathing hard because I'm just like, and I just put together that like, that's the dog. So I tell her the whole story and she literally cannot stop laughing. We're at the top of the hill for like a good 10 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
And she's like, you've got to be kidding me. And she's just like, and you can't even take a picture because you're up this hill without your. And I'm like, no, I can't. I just have to take a mental picture.
Oh my gosh. The dog's looking at you. You're looking at the dog. Oh my gosh.
And so then I was like, oh, what am I going to say to the owner? Oh, I saw the dog in question.
But he wasn't in the house.
But he wasn't in the house. And I didn't have.
He was training. He's training with me. Oh my gosh. That's awesome.
I know. Like, what are the odds? Isn't that bizarre?
Yeah.
It wasn't even close by. Like, that's in Lyle.
You have some good ones.
That's in Lyle, and the house was in South Naperville. Like, it's not even... He was probably thinking, you know what he was thinking? No, I won't see anybody that I'll recognize there. It's too damn far.
Right, exactly.
Just take the dog for a walk.
Yeah. Was there a showing at that time?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Interesting. Wonder what he was doing there. Yeah,
so
at the
bizarre.
hill. Yeah, very strange. That's awesome. Oh my gosh.
Yep. And then here's another story. This I'll never forget. So this was he's now a multiple time past client.
Okay.
But
so good reviews. Everything's good.
Good reviews. I mean, generally a good guy. I mean, I don't know him that well, but yeah. So I go over. He owns a condo, okay? And he wanted to buy another condo in the building for an investment. So he invites me over. It's him and his, I think, girlfriend at the time. And we sit down, in the family room and we're just chit-chatting. And sometimes I am not a very observant person, Bill. And, I should probably learn that by now. But I'm sitting there, like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, like, and he's just like, okay, so let's talk about like, how I can buy this unit, right? Because this is after I had showed the unit to him, okay? And we're sitting down in his unit. And I said, okay, well, first off, you need have you talked to a lender, right?
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, no, no need. I'm going to pay in cash.
Wonderful.
And
Even better.
Well, that's great. I said, do you have proof of funds? And he's like, no, but I'll get it to you. Okay, so I just left it at that, right?
No, but I'll get it to you.
Mm-hmm. So I just left it at that. So then I was like, okay, all right. And then we start talking about other things, and he all of a sudden his face changes. So we're like sitting kitty corner across from each other, right? His face changes because I think he noticed something that was on his coffee table. And I'm like, what are you looking at, right? He had left his Glock on the coffee table, just open, and he's like, oh. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to leave this out. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, this just got really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So he's like, would you like for me to put it away? And I was like, is it loaded? Yeah. I didn't know what to say, So then I don't remember. It's a blur. I think he put it away. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, what do I do now? Right?
Yeah. So why was it out?
I don't know. Isn't that bizarre?
Yeah.
So then I leave the appointment, okay? And of course, the first thing I do is I call my husband, I text the team. I'm like, you'll never believe what just happened, right?
Yeah.
And they're all like, what? Like, are you okay? Like this whole bit.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I think so. Like, I'm a little rattled, but like, I don't know. So then finally, I get into the car, okay? And I'm in the car, safe, right? He texts me a picture. And he's like, is this good enough for proof of funds? And it's a picture of a suitcase with cash. And I'm like, dude.
This is turning into Pulp Fiction.
Why would you send that to me after I just left your place when you had a gun on the coffee table?
Oh, God.
And all I could do is I responded back and I was like, no, that's not appropriate.
So he had a suitcase full of
a picture. I don't even know. It could have been like a stock photo.
Yeah.
For all I know.
Wow. And he's a repeat customer.
I know, right? So
did he explain where the money came from?
No.
Okay.
And I
cold cash.
didn't really want to know.
Yeah.
And the question would have been, was that a real picture or was that Did you like go online and like
you and your clients' pictures? I tell you,
and other agents, not just
yeah. I forgot.
Just
I was
the
hoping
pictures
he wasn't. That guy wasn't on the panel either, or maybe he was.
No.
I mean,
No.
He has something against
No.
the whole.
Yeah.
So that's good. That's awesome.
And then I'm trying to think what else we had. Oh, yes. So it must have been in the fall. So again, it was 2021, but we were still wearing masks, if you remember. We were still,
still trying
being safe and all of that. And so my team and I got a referral, which we thought was a great referral at the time. And it was to a factory. I'm not going to say what type of materials they made, okay, but it was to a factory out in the western suburbs. And the factory owner was like, okay, I'm going to need to find housing for all of my employees and myself. And I thought, oh, this is great.
Huge.
This is great, right?
It's a big deal.
Okay. So we go there and, they were making things and they were just setting up. It was a huge factory, tons of employees, okay? And he was like, I just want to say, this is no joke. COVID is no joke, okay? And we're standing there, masked up, mind you, okay? And I'm like, why would he think we think it's a joke, okay?
Yeah.
And so then they had like lunch laid out for the employees, not for us, okay? And it was taco lunch or whatever, Taco Tuesday. I don't even know, okay? And so right after he says, this is not a joke, this is serious business. People are going to continue to die, okay, from this and this, that, and the other. COVID, he's talking about, okay? And I'm like, yeah, it's serious. I never said it wasn't, right? Okay. Right. So then he goes over. He doesn't have a mask on, by the way, okay? He goes over with his bare hands to the churro station and picks up a churro like this. It goes like this, splits it, and then eats it. And I'm like, did he just do that? Like, after he said this is serious business? Like, what is actually happening here?
What's going on with this guy?
Yeah.
He's not wearing a mask.
No. And then, like, he had us show him homes for himself, mind you, okay? Like, luxury price points without a pre-approval, without anything, okay? And, like, basically just relied on the fact that, like, I would get him in. Relied on my good name, essentially.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it worked for a little while. And then I forget what happened, but there was clearly a fallout. Like, we took him out like once or twice. And then I think it was just, he wasn't realistic. He wanted like certain things. He wanted like luxury rentals for his employees. And he wanted to find, a house with certain criteria and all that, and it just wasn't realistic. He was kind of in La La Land,
Yeah.
And then we found out, because we Googled the person, okay, the owner, and we found out that he's a wanted criminal in another country.
Oh, no. Okay.
So at that point, I told the agent who referred him to me, I told him, and he was like, oh my gosh, like, I had no idea, this, that, all of this, okay? And yeah, he didn't buy. I don't want to say he never bought. He didn't buy until 2024. Okay. And it wasn't with us. And I'll tell you the story of that when we get to that year. But, that was one of the most bizarre things I've ever experienced in my career.
Wow. Okay. So what do you do with that? You just don't say anything about it, or
no, I guess not. No.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Just move on.
Yeah. I mean, it was interesting at the same time, all at the same time, because I think he hopped around. Like, immediately afterwards, he worked with like a bunch of other local realtors.
Yeah.
And then I knew it was always him, because whenever that agent would want to show one of our luxury listings, and I would, we asked for pre-approval and all that. If the agent said, you're just going to have to trust me on this, my client is a really high profile, blah, 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 I'd be like, is it this guy? And
they'd say,
how do you know?
Right.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Really?
So like, he definitely made the rounds, so to speak. Yeah.
Wow.
And then I did see him around town. funny enough. Yeah, it was awkward, super awkward. Like I saw him around town like after 2021, like in 22 and 23, like, and it was just awkward.
Yeah.
And I just, I kind of pretended that I didn't know him, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So, but the whole situation was super awkward. Yeah.
Gee. So when you found out that he was wanted, you just broke it off? Is that what you did, or was that before that?
I think we might have broken, I don't know. I think we might have broken it off before then. Okay. But like, it was one of the things that we found out while working with him in the short time that we were working with him that I was like, this is just, there's so many red flags. Like, what is going on, And I didn't really want any part of that. Yeah. I don't.
Well, that just tells you, I mean, we had a panel a few weeks ago, and you just don't know who you're working with. What type of tools do you use to make sure that you're protected?
Nowadays, we have a lot more with Forewarn, so we can look people up. We're fortunate enough that most of our clients that we work with now are past clients or actual direct referrals from our past clients or friends or family sphere. But before, when you're a newer agent, you have no choice. So I would just say my best advice to newer agents, if you don't know the person, which chances are you won't, make sure you do your due diligence. That's why Forewarn is there, Make sure you search, make sure that they are who they say they are, and I just make sure that you have your locations on for, people that are close to you, your family members or significant others, etc. And then just make sure that somebody always knows where you are, right? And then have a contingency plan. So before Forewarn, I would always tell my husband, like, okay, I'm going to this location at this time. If you don't hear from me by this time specifically, like 15 minutes, whatever, into the appointment, then you need to call 911.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Okay. So I always had, like, if I was meeting somebody I didn't know, like if it was somebody I knew really well, I mean, obviously, right. Yeah. But if it was a stranger, the first meeting, whatever it is. Yeah. And I tried not to meet people in a house, especially if it's vacant, for the first meeting. That's why it's really important to meet them first, like at your office or some like public place, coffee shop. I mean, really anything. Yeah. To establish kind of rapport. Yeah. And that's also why I'm super glad that now, because of the lawsuits, we have to sign buyer rep agreements. Right. Before we even show. Yeah. Right. Before you could just, meet somebody somewhere. Gee. Like, that was wild.
I mean, just all your stories that you're having, like the guy that has a Glock on the table, and then you have this that happens after that. You have to watch where you're at, where you're going.
Where you're going, who you're with. Absolutely. Yeah.
Man.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's normal to look somebody up if you don't know them, right?
Right.
You just never anticipate or expect that something's going to come up, like, about the person.
Right.
Is all. Yeah. So it was pretty shocking. Yep. And then I'm trying to think what else. A couple of really, really bad things happened. I sprained my ankle. So
Through training.
So I finished. So the trifecta is 3 races. I finished 2. So we traveled to Texas for the first one. The second one, I think, was West Virginia, or maybe it was the other way around. And then the third and final one was going to be at home in Chicago. So easy peasy, right?
Yeah, right?
Or so I thought. Right. And it was in the fall. So I had done the other ones like in the summer. And then the one in Chicago was going to be, I think it was October. So weeks before. September 21st, I think it was. Or maybe it was a little bit earlier than that. I was running on the trail with my trainer. And it was more than a trail because there's like a river. It's like all different types of terrain. So you have to really watch. I mean, it emulates the actual terrain. Yeah. But you have to watch it. Otherwise, you could really injure yourself, Sure. And so I just wasn't, I don't know if I was paying attention, but it was when I was running along the river. And so there's like rocks and quarry everywhere. My ankle slipped.
Oh, gosh.
I know. And I thought I broke it. Ugh. I did because it felt really not good, and I've sprained my ankle before and it felt worse. So then I was like, I'm pretty sure I broke it, So I went to go. Luckily, it became super swollen overnight, even with ice and everything. I couldn't even recognize it anymore. So I went to go see my makeup artist, actually. Her father is a podiatrist.
Okay.
So I was able to get in the next day, thankfully. And he had to give me a shot to reduce the swelling and kind of get it back into a semi-normal state. And then I had to wear a boot for about 7 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So training for the rest of the year and my trifecta goal was just down the tubes. So that was a huge bummer.
Yeah.
I was pretty down in the dumps after that. Yeah. Because it was just something that I was looking forward to, and I was 2/3 of the way there, and it just was,
Yeah, that happened to me my senior year of high school. I was trying to go into college, play football.
Oh, wow.
That's where my dad was All-American football player at Michigan State. So, of course, I was trying to follow in his footsteps, and my knee snapped in half. And
oh, ouch.
Yeah, literally an ankle touched my hip, so that was nasty.
Touched you. Oh,
yeah. So
no.
Yeah, it was a bad one.
Yeah,
it was one of those
really
that you see on video, and you're like, okay, I don't want to see that ever again.
No.
But I remember that it was a depressing moment.
Oh, it's
so,
terrible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's hard when you get laid up like that.
Yeah, and like not only could I not finish my trifecta and I couldn't train, like I couldn't even work out.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't.
Right.
And so I tried to make the most of it, even going, anytime I went out, it was like, I still remind my son, because at the time he was 3 years old, he was a toddler, very cute. Every time we would go out, right, he would make one lap around the house inside. And he would always say, he would be screaming, not screaming, but yelling, you know, don't forget your boot, like just running around the house. Mommy. It's very
kids are, they say the funniest things.
They do. It was hilarious. And I was just like, it made me laugh, which is a good thing at the time.
Yeah.
Because I was pretty down in the dumps. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then we made a lot of mistakes. There was one listing I remember where we activated it at the wrong price. But in our defense, they had changed the price right before we wanted to activate. So like originally when we signed the paperwork, they said activate at this price, $500, for example, right? And then like 2 days before, less than a week before, they're like, actually, let's list it for this price, like lower or higher, something like that. Okay. And so like we got all the paperwork signed, everything, all our ducks in a row, but for some reason, like in the system, the change didn't take, or I don't know, forgot. Wow. And so, they lost it. I mean, you would have thought that we made like a colossal error. It was like the end of the world. Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't it funny how some people are just so sensitive towards certain things?
So high strung. Yeah. And it's like, and it was before. So now MRED, the MLS, they're able to, if you catch it within, I forget what it is, like within however many minutes, they can just make it so that it never happened.
Oh.
So it's not in the history.
Oh, good.
And it doesn't show up as a price change, which is like damaging,
Right.
But at the time, I don't know if it was like they just didn't have it yet in the system. And so unfortunately, it had to show,
Oh, a price change?
I know. Okay. And so then it like to add insult to injury, Yeah. And so then like they couldn't let that go. You could tell it was one of those things they couldn't let it go.
Yeah.
So then like from there on out, and it was just the beginning of our professional relationship, I told the team, I said, we have to be perfect.
Yeah.
Like,
isn't it funny?
There is no room for error now.
Yeah. You don't want to get caught behind the 8 ball. And when it starts off like that, it's like you just know that something else is around the corner.
Exactly. So luckily that house, we closed, everything else was fine. Yeah. But I just will never forget it. I was like, oh, geez. Like now we've just started on the wrong foot. Like everything's just wrong, know? So, but yeah, we made it through. Yeah. And then there was a scam that was going around during that time. There was a couple. And we almost got taken. But again, we did it because we were smart. So we had a listing in Lyle. And it was a very nice listing. And a couple came through. They weren't represented, so I think it was Tiffany. Tiffany showed it. They submitted an offer, and they had either proof of funds or pre-approval. Like, we thought everything's fine,
Sure.
right? Okay, so we, kind of get along through the process, and then the red flags started appearing. I don't know if we ever got earnest money, if we got, sort of thing. So I'm like, oh no, not this again, right? With the earnest money.
Right.
So then I think it was, I did do this one very to a T, okay? Very punctual. Like the first day that we didn't have the earnest money, I told the sellers, I told the attorney, because I learned my lesson, okay?
Right.
And so the sellers knew every bit that was going on. And so I think it was day 5 or 6 when we were all like, something just doesn't seem right? And so they canceled. It was either we canceled or somebody canceled, okay? And then later on, we found out through one of the mom's Facebook pages or something, and I think it was going around the Compass corporate offices, that this couple was going around town and submitting offers on homes and then putting them under contract, but then not ever closing.
Really?
And then I'm like, but what's the end game there? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it just doesn't make any sense. You're tying up the property.
Right.
But what are you getting out of it? It's
like a serial buyer?
Yeah, some evil, sick, you're getting off on that? It doesn't make any sense.
So you didn't find out what their motive was?
No. And it was only later that I found out that these people, we weren't the first and we probably weren't the last.
Right.
And so another agent from another brokerage was warning people, the people by this name and this name, they're just not legit.
It's so weird.
Super weird, right?
Yeah. Wow. Those are crazy ones.
They're very, very crazy. Yeah. And then the last thing, 2 things. Remember in a previous episode, I think it was maybe in the very beginning, I told you about the listing that I had for 5 years, the luxury listing.
Yeah.
So that finally closed in 2021.
Really?
In April. Yeah. 5 years it took.
5 years. Mm-hmm. How'd you feel? How'd you feel? Relieved?
Relieved, and also I didn't want to think about that my average per hour was probably negative $560.
Right. Yeah.
Probably, something like that. But the part of that I want to leave everybody with is that the attorney representing my seller in that situation is not an attorney that I ever want to deal with again. He was very condescending, blamed me for everything, threw me under the bus. Yep. And then, so it closed in April, but we had an offer that we took. We were under contract. It was around Christmas, the holidays. Mm-hmm. And he wanted the seller to basically do something that I thought was not on the up and up. To me, it seemed very gray, at best, gray area. Okay.
Yeah.
At worst, just wrong. Okay. He wanted the seller. So we were under contract, remember? Okay. And I'm pretty sure we were already past the inspection. We're under contract.
Review?
Yeah.
Right.
We're under contract. And another offer came in. So I advised the seller, I presented it, but I advised the seller, I said, it's a backup because the attorney was like, no, we can negotiate. We can go back to both and call for highest and best. And I'm like, that is not, first of all, you want to do my job?
Yeah.
And second of all, that's not how this works.
Yeah, stay in your lane.
You're
right?
in a you as the attorney should know more than anybody. When you're in a contract, you're committed.
Right.
Right? You're not, this is not in good faith, right? And so then because of how the attorney behaved, he was influencing my client in thinking that your realtor sucks and she doesn't have your best interest in mind and this, that, and he threw me under the bus. So much so that he called me on Christmas Eve, this attorney, screaming at me, telling me how bad of an agent I was and how it wasn't representing the client's best interests and that I should have done this, that, and the other thing. And I was kind of like, we're under I don't understand what game you're trying to play here,
Yeah.
And I stood up for myself, but I just didn't appreciate being yelled at, especially not on Christmas Eve.
Right. Yeah. Happy holidays.
Yeah.
So was was this an attorney that you referred?
Nope.
So he was an outside attorney.
It's an outside attorney, but he's still in the business, and a lot of people use him. Yeah. And whenever I see his name on a file, I'm just like, oh, here we go. Right?
Oh yeah, I've been there plenty.
Watch
of
your
times.
back. Yeah.
With a lot of people in the industry,
Yeah. And I think he's one of those people. He has selective memory because I don't think he acts as if nothing has ever happened between us, and it's like, really.
You don't remember that time that
you screamed at me? Yeah. And you threw me under the bus?
Yeah.
And then watched me as like, come on. Yeah. So that was not great. And then the last thing, the piece of the resistance that happened in 2021 was I had been working with a builder, I thought exclusively, for about 6 years at that point, maybe longer. I had represented him on a lot of his builds, his own homes, right? Things like that, okay? I defended him when clients were unhappy. I pretty much referred him to all of my clients who were thinking about building new, right? So that was my take on the business professional relationship. I basically gave it my all, and I defended him even when it was to my own detriment, if that makes sense, because my clients were looking to me as like, well, you recommended him. This is what happened. And then I would defend him instead of being like, well, I don't know what his deal is. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Okay. So then remember in the beginning of the episode, I started that video series, right? Naperville Homes and Happenings. And so in one of the videos, I thought, okay, it would be good because I had a listing that was built by him. So I thought, hey, this is perfect. I'll feature the home. It's not on the market. I'll feature the home, and then I'll feature him. Like, I'll interview him. That's the business side of things, right? The small business and the house.
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay. So that was probably around this time of the year, January, February in the year. And I'm telling you that because timeline-wise, there was ample opportunity for him to be like, hey, Alice, I'm going to be doing this next, and I just want you to know I don't want you to be blindsided. That's the professional thing to do, right? Courtesy. Right. Okay. Especially since we've been working together for 6 years, at least. So we do the episode, that's that episode, and it goes out, and we publicize it and all that. Everything's great. And I have about, 3,400 friends on Facebook, okay? And one of the photographers that I used to use, she posted on her stories some pictures of a house in her stories. And I went, that house looks awfully familiar. It's the builder's house. And the photographer had said, like she didn't really say much. She just posted pictures of his house. And so I messaged the photographer and I said, hey, why were you taking photos of the builder's house? Like, is he listing it?
Yeah.
And you could tell already. She was like, oh, shoot. Like, she didn't think, I don't know what she thought, okay?
Yeah.
And she was just like, I don't know if I'm supposed to say, and I was like, I already know the answer.
Yeah.
And I was like, who is it? Who's the agent that's listing it, right? Okay. It's obviously not me. So I don't have anything against the agent, obviously. I thought it's not their fault, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So I messaged the builder. And it was a very short message. It was basically that, I'm very disappointed, to say the least. I would have expected you to at least give me a heads up and not for me to find out on a Facebook story from a photographer.
Right.
Like, like, when were you going to tell me? Right. And his response was less than stellar. It was basically like, I don't appreciate your tone, and it's very surprising, coming from you, and that I thought you knew that we weren't exclusive, that you work with other builders and I work with other agents, and we needed to get the house ready and on the market immediately, and they were okay with that. And I'm like, I would have been okay with that, but okay,
Yeah.
And something along the lines of like, I've always had respect for you. And I'm like, no, clearly you don't, because if you had respect for me, you would have at least told me.
Yeah.
That's respect.
Right.
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 So, and the best part of his text was the last part of his text, which was, I would be upset, or not upset, but it would be a shame if you let this one listing affect our business relationship. It's only a house. That was the kicker. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I had this super long response typed back, and I edited it, deleted it, and I never sent the super long response, okay? Because at the end of the day, after talking to my husband, after talking to, a lot of trusted friends, they were just like, it's going to fall upon deaf ears. So just send back a very, very precise response, very succinct, which is what I did. So my response was basically, I see that the way I viewed our professional relationship was not reciprocated. We have differing views of our relationship, and I hope we can work together in the future. And I just left it at that.
That's good.
And that was almost 5 years ago.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been in those situations.
It's not good.
Yeah. And it's the weird part about that is that you feel that you're the crazy one because you're like, wait a minute, I have feelings too, right? Like I should be able, I trusted you. I
defended you. I went to bat for you. Like even when it was damaging to myself.
Sure.
Because you can imagine the clients are like, what the heck, Alice? You referred us to him and he isn't holding his part of the bargain. And then now you're defending him, right? There were so many instances like that over the years.
Yeah.
And then basically just to not even be given the decency of letting me know beforehand.
Yeah.
It's just like a slap in the face.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not emotional about it anymore. It's been 5 years. It's more just to me, it's very black and white.
Yeah.
There's a right way to do things professionally, and then
Sure.
there's
an integrity there.
There's an integrity there.
And I had that happen one time when I was working with an agent where we were exclusive and we did a client appreciation, but she did not invite me to be part of the client appreciation. But then I show up to client appreciation, there was more loan officers there than there were clients. I'm like, this is the weirdest thing.
Wait, what?
It was the weirdest thing, and just made me feel really about this big. And it's just...
But it was a client appreciation?
It was a client appreciation, but I looked around the room, there was more loan officers there than there were clients. I was like... So I did the same thing. I confronted her. And she goes, well, I work with other people, and I never really talked about future casting with, like, the loan officers. I'm like, what are you... you're driving me crazy with this double talk. And that's... Certain people just don't have the integrity or the character to actually talk about it. So
and back up their,
Yeah, so I basically said, okay, I'm done. Same thing. You have to cut your ties because a lot of people will use and abuse you in this industry, and you know that.
Agreed.
So...
And it's sad, but it's okay. It's not personal, it's business. I get that. But it's just, it can be business, it can be professional. But there's still a certain way to go about it, in my opinion,
Right.
You let the person know. You don't let the person find out on social media indirectly.
Right. I think that's, it's a good quality you have, is to be able to talk to people and be honest and direct.
Yeah. I mean, it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. Hurts. It's not like fun.
Right.
But you still do it, yeah.
And that person that hears it, too, from the receiving end, either has to take heed to the criticism and change or move on.
Yeah, or just say,
or not learn,
Yeah, or just say, like, you know what? Yeah, that was pretty cruddy of me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry or whatever. But then not only to not do that, but then to, like, go on the defensive and then, like, counterattack and say, like, I don't appreciate your tone of voice. It's like... Okay, I can see we are not made of the same fiber.
Yeah, it's so weird because you feel like you're the crazy one, and that's the hard part with that. You're like, wait a minute, I stepped for myself. I confronted this person because I had to release that off my heart. There's a part of that where you have to release it just because that's your sanity, right?
And then it's also, if you remember, it was also on the heels of us doing that episode featuring his business and a house that he had built. Like,
it's a sense of betrayal.
I literally was like... You had every ample opportunity to tell me every opportunity. But basically, it was a huge betrayal because it was like, I just promoted your business in front of the whole world. And then this is how you reciprocate?
Yeah.
It was the most weird, situation.
Wow. Well, that's 2021 for you.
2021.
Did you have a good year as far as production? How was your production?
I did. Yes. Yeah. I realized we didn't talk about production on 2020 or 2021, but both years, yes, it was very, very good. 2020, the first half obviously wasn't great because everything was shut down. But we more than made up for it in the second half of the year. And then 21, the same thing, because things were just flying off the shelves.
Yeah.
And we still were mainly heavy on the listings.
Yep.
So that definitely favored us. But yeah, we had pretty good years, I would say. Yeah.
Good.
Solid.
Awesome. Well, there you have it. There's 2021. I hope you're enjoying these episodes. I totally am. I mean, this is great stuff from Alice Chen and just her life story. So thank you so much for that. And we will see you on the next episode.
See you then.